Dungeon Life 3, brought to you by Khenal. I'm a little on the other side of the frame now, so we're going to be displaying the book cover over yonder. How are you guys doing today? We're back with the DM. We're back with Dungeon Life 3. We are examining the furtherance of the story. We are advancing our soul cores and making sure that our scions are growing up to master the elements. Did you read book 2? Did you enjoy it? How about Rocky? Am I right? Well, you're going to get a lot of Rocky this time. And actually, I don't even remember if Rocky is that big of a deal in the last one, but he sure is in this one. The conduit itself was a great deal of the second one, for sure. Fluffles, I believe was his name. But we are venturing back into the world of dungeon life, the life of a dungeon, if you will. And as always, we're going to look at the different aspects of the book, why I like it, why I don't like it, the readability, the characters, the plot, the book cover, and whether or not you should read it or own it. That's pretty much all we do here, and that's all we'll ever do for perpetuity. So Dungeon Life 3 explores the Southwood, finally. We get to meet their scion. We get to have a little chit chat with them. What's up, chat? With the scion over there in the Southwood dungeon. We find out a little bit more about what's been going on with the Kobolds. Our high priestess is on her way to figuring out what's happening to her ancestors. And that is primarily the main drive of book number 3. We are on the hunt for this bad dungeon, this devourer of souls who needs to be stopped at all costs. Let's focus on point number 1 real quick. This is still a very easy to read book. This is a number 2 out of 5 on the readability scale. Nothing overly difficult for you to have to read. It is a lot more enjoyable than the second book just because of how long the second book was. This one is definitely over quicker. It is a better continuance of the story, in my opinion. The harbor was a neat story. Not the best second book of second books that there are. But we're not all winners, right? I still liked it. I still rated it pretty highly. If you want to continue the story, it's still absolutely worth reading. But so is number 3, because number 3 starts to answer a lot of questions. Number 3 gets into a little bit of eldritch horror, if you will. Number 3 gets into that dungeon life. You're really in it now. You're really mixed up in it. The Adventurers Guild are highlighted quite a bit. The Dungeon Guild is highlighted very much in terms of them having to go around and investigate what's been going on again. So Elf Guy is still making his appearances. I believe the one that does all the paperwork is Talara. Don't know why I remember her name. I'm probably misremembering it, because that's just what I do. The characters, though, as we're discussing them, is the next portion of what we're going on to. And you're going to get a lot of the scions this time. Like I said, Rocky is a big deal in this one. He is the zombie who is working on his magic affinities. I believe at this point, Freddie and Mercury, if you've been watching the other videos, you'll understand why I call them Freddie and Mercury at this point, because I cannot remember the poor mage girl's name, who is the apprentice of the guy who runs the potion shop. But basically, everybody's working on leveling up. The DM's leveling up, the Scions are leveling up, the people around the town are leveling up. You get the storyline of the mayor who goes incognito to join Freddie and Mercury as a party to go around and start leveling up himself. And he's kind of a fighter class. He's got a rapier that he uses that has water elements to it, which, actually, now that I think about it, he may have been in book 2, but book 2 is so long and so much happens that it could have been 3 or 4 books of anybody else's that were writing it. So it's possible we already met him. Reslin, I think his name, Reslar, Twizzler. So Twizzler likes to twist his Twizzler rapier into enemies, and he's got some really cool skills. He's got that weird stereotypical, like, super stealthy butler who's probably like head of the Assassin's Guild or something at some point that we'll find out. That's kind of what it seems like they're setting up for in this. And just a lot of what's been going on, the voice of the dungeon continues to kind of level up himself in terms of the spaces that he creates within the world, his little shortcuts, and his bending of physical space is improving. There's a lovely scene with him and the stag from the Southwood that was enjoyable to read because everybody underestimates the rat scion. So you've got that going on. The ratkin are full on into making their cult. The spiderkin are their own people at this point. There are no further kin that come up. But we get into some dare and do. There's a lot going on. Freddie and Mercury test their might on Rocky again and get some pretty good loot throughout what they've been doing. And they grow as little orc and goblin people. If you can call them that. Just orc or goblin, whatever. Whatever, man. I just work here. And I still like it. I'm ready for book number 4. I am probably going to have to get a physical copy of it from like the B&E, the Barnes & Noble, why did I say B&E? The breaking and entering. I'm going to break into somebody's house that has this book. So if it's you, go ahead and, DM me or don't do that. Okay, let's just moving along. Going to get a physical copy of the 4th book, which will be weird because I don't have 1, 2, or 3. But that seems to be the only way that I'm going to be able to read it right now. I've had some trouble finding an ebook copy of it, but that's neither here nor there. I am going to, see where Khenal's taking the rest of this. I could probably just go to Royal Road and read it there. But I'm not a huge fan of reading on my device unless I have to. I know I've got a giant screen back here, but this is actually broken, and I'm okay with that. I don't intend on replacing it anytime soon because I've replaced TV with my books. And, you could do whatever you want to do, but for me, that's been working out great. Anyway, characters still fantastic, still about a 4 out of 5. There's still a lot of new things introduced in this particular one. There's a red cap scion for the Devourer dungeon. It's really the best way that I can describe it because it devours everything around it, and it's described as a giant gaping maw that is insatiable and wants to devour everything. So I think that's a good way to describe it. And it's got a red cap goblin that creates horrible menageries to wear on its head from the flesh of its fallen enemies or just people in the city. So you got that going. You got some lovely descriptions of hattery. Is that haberdashery? I'm not 100% sure. I'm just a man. And that's a good part of the story. And then you get the other scion that is from the dungeon, which is a large part of the story. So I don't want to harp too much on its specific details because I try not to spoil very much. I'm sure I've spoiled a few things here and there in these videos, but I really try not to spoil too much. I try to leave it for everybody to be able to kind of take it in and absorb it as you wish. And just double checking that everything's good. The plot, just to kind of go in again with this, it involves saving the kobolds. That's primary function number one. The B plot is the scions and the interactivity between the DM scions, the Devourer Dungeon scions, and then the C plot is the Adventurers Guild and all of the adventurers joining the DM to help fight the Devourer Dungeon. And there's espionage and trickery and things like that that are going on in this point in time. And then, like I said, there's more of the storyline with the mayor. I could be completely wrong about that still, though. That whole thing could have just been book 2. If it was, why don't you drop a comment below and tell me that I'm stupid. We love that around here. And again, it's a good follow-up to the direction of where book number 1 was going, because they set this up way back in book number 1. So Khenal had the foresight to plan this out in advance. So this tumult that you're about to go through and read, if you do read it, which I eventually, spoiler alert there, I am going to recommend that you go and read it, is certainly worth exploring. And again, this is the only isekai where you're not put into a humanoid form. You're not put into, somebody else's body, whether it's a gender swap or whatever it is, in a different world. You're literally hit by a truck, turned into a dungeon, and that's a choice you were given. The guy chose to do it. And that's how we get to where we are. At one point, no, actually, that's a different book. But he does start to wonder what is going on. Is he some kind of deity himself? Is he just the only person that's ever been, resurrected in this type of method? Because the other dungeons don't seem to be as smart as he is in terms of the memories and everything that he's carried over. No one knows what a human being is. That comes up, I think, in either book 2 or book number 1 really quickly, that just in this world, a human being is not comprehensible. They don't know what it is, how it would exist, what it would look like. It's just not something in their world. So this is a very fantasy world. There's been mer people, there's rat people, there's spider people, there's goblins and orcs and things that seem human but aren't human. They're humanoid, obviously, because they're bipeds. And there's dwarves and there's gnomes, catkin. I mean, you've got everything, but you don't have the human. So humanity is not a part of this story. How that factors into me rating the plot a 4 out of 5 is because I like the culmination of everything to do with the Kobold story, everything that goes on with the Devourer Dungeon story, and the way that everybody has to progress in order to meet these challenges. And it's worth going through and reading something fresh and interesting and completely different from a lot of the stuff that you're going to find. Okay? This ain't your Sarah J. Maas, all right? We got no spice in this book, no spice in any of the books that I read. So you never have to worry about that. You're never going to feel awkward reading this book unless somebody asks you, like, what the hell is Dungeon Life about? And you're like, well, this guy gets hit by a truck and reincarnated as a dungeon, and wouldn't you believe it, he absolutely loves it. That might get you a strange look or two. But book cover, of course, now over here, as we've said, because I'm over here, so it's over here. This one has the Infiltrator Scion from the Devourer on it. I can't remember off the top of my head what else is on there. I think it may be the Red Cap. You're able to see it right here, so you know what it is. I'm going off of my brain hole, and as we all know, my brain hole ain't so good. It don't work so good. But the book cover art is still that nice fantasy type of book cover art. It's very colorful. It's not it's not AI, so I mean that right there is a bonus. Um, he very clearly, had someone make the cover art for him, and it's good because what we've got right now, where it's just literally the text on the cover with some nice frillies and things like that, with what's been going on there, not good, not good. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Carl's fallen prey to this. The original cover art for the Dungeon Crawler Carl books is way better than what we're getting for the hardbacks. 100% better. But we're not here to talk about Carl right now. We are here to discuss Dungeon Life, and we're almost done discussing it. So the book cover, again, nice 4 out of 5. Should you read this book? Should you buy this book? If you've bought 1 and 2 or read 1 and 2 and you'd like to continue the story, and maybe you're having trouble finding it, you can't find it on Royal Road or wherever you're looking for it, yeah, pick it up. It's worth continuing. It's a great third in the story, and it's worth your time. Absolutely 100% worth your time. So yes, you should read this, or you should get it if you have gotten the other 2. There's no reason not to. And, at the end of the day, that's that. We're going to go solid 4.0 out of 5. So 4 out of 5. I like to do that a lot. I've been given a lot of 4s out of 5s. Unless you're corpo age, in which case you're garbage. And I hope you improve as a writer. But until then, not interested in the second novel of that book at all. So today we've discussed Dungeon Life 3. If you've read it, leave a comment for me. And maybe a 1 or 2 for thee. Like, subscribe, do all those things that people like to do when they're on the YouTube. And maybe next time we'll have something different in store. Adieu.